In chemistry, we learn how elements bond. Funny thing is, I can solve equations all day, but I still can't figure out how to connect with people. The sound of a bell echoed through the chemistry lecture hall. Chairs scraped against the floor. Students zipped up their backpacks, laughter spilling through the air as groups of friends drifted toward the door. I sat in the corner, closing my notebook slowly, pretending to be busy as the room emptied. One by one, the voices faded until only the soft hum of the projector remained. When I finally stood up, I could hear the sound of my own footsteps. No one was waiting for me. No one ever did. Outside the University of Minnesota campus was alive. Hundreds of students crossing the mall, bundled in coats, laughing, shouting, calling each other's names. It felt like everyone belonged somewhere. Everyone but me. I tightened the straps of my backpack, pulled my hoodie up, and walked alone through the sea of people. My name is Sam Carter. I'm a freshman majoring in chemistry at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. It's my first year, my 4th month here. I come from a small rural town in southern Mississippi, the kind of place where the air smells like soil after the rain, and everyone knows everyone's name. We didn't have much. My mom works 2 jobs, and cleaning offices during the day and waiting tables at night. My dad passed away when I was 10. I grew up helping mom with the farm, feeding chickens, tending the small patch of corn behind our house. I used to watch the stars at night and dream that someday I'd leave that place, study hard, and make a life where she wouldn't have to work anymore. When I got the acceptance letter to Minnesota, she cried. Happy tears. She said, "Sam, this is your chance. Go make something of yourself." I promised her I would, but no one tells you that chasing a dream can be so lonely. When I moved into the dorms, everything felt like a movie. Students were laughing in the hallways, music played from open doors, and posters for clubs and parties covered every wall. Everyone seemed to know what they were doing, where they were going, who they were with. And then there was me, standing there with my suitcase trying to figure out where to fit in. In my chemistry class, I was the only black student. It wasn't that people were rude, they were just distant. Conversations ended quickly. Eye contact slipped away. I could feel it in the silence, that quiet distance, that invisible wall that told me, you don't belong here. I wanted to join a study group, but they already had theirs. I wanted to sit with someone in the cafeteria, but everyone seemed busy, surrounded by laughter that wasn't mine. At night, I'd scroll through social media, everyone posting pictures of football games, parties, pumpkin spice lattes, while I sat under the dim dorm light, alone with my chemistry notes and a cup of instant ramen. Loneliness is a strange thing. It doesn't come all at once. It seeps in slowly like cold air under a door. At first I told myself I just needed time, that I was shy, that things would change. But weeks turned into months. The silence in my room grew heavier. There were nights I couldn't sleep. I'd stare at the ceiling, thinking about my mom, picturing her working late, wondering if she was okay. Sometimes the thought of her alone in that old house made my chest ache. There were nights I'd cry quietly into my pillow, whispering her name like a prayer. Mom, I'm trying, I promise. I missed everything. The sound of the crickets back home, the laughter of my high school friends, the feeling of belonging somewhere. At college, I felt invisible, and invisibility is exhausting. Money. That was another shadow that followed me everywhere. My work-study job was at a campus coffee shop. 25 hours a week, cleaning tables, wiping counters, taking orders from students who came in wearing the newest jackets, and talking about ski trips or spring break plans. I smiled, handed them their lattes, and counted every dollar I earned. Every paycheck went straight to rent, books, and groceries. When my classmates went out for sushi, I said I was too busy. When they planned a movie night, I said I had to work. The truth was simpler, I couldn't afford it. One Friday, my chemistry lab group invited me to a chemistry night out. They said it would be fun. Bowling, pizza, and drinks after. I laughed, told them I'd think about it. That night, I sat alone in my dorm, eating cereal for dinner while watching the snow fall outside the window. They posted photos later, smiling faces, bright lights. I double-tapped the post, pretending it didn't sting. Every no I said built another wall between me and them, and soon I was surrounded by walls. It happened on a Wednesday night in November. I'd just finished a late shift at the coffee shop. My hands smelled like espresso and sanitizer. My head ached. I got back to my dorm around midnight. My chemistry paper was due at 8 a.m. I opened my laptop, but my brain refused to work. My eyes burned from exhaustion. Somewhere between the second paragraph and the third, I fell asleep. When I woke up, sunlight was already flooding through the window. My heart dropped. I'd missed the deadline. Later that day, my professor handed back the papers. A red F glared at me from the top of the page. I'd never seen that letter next to my name before. I felt something break inside. After class, I walked back to my dorm, each step heavier than the last. When I got inside, I locked the door, threw my bag on the floor, and sat on the bed. That night, I didn't study. I didn't eat. I just pulled the blanket over my head and cried. The kind of crying that comes from deep inside your chest, the kind that shakes you. I whispered into the darkness, "Mom, I can't do this." Over and over until my voice broke. And the next morning, I sat in the chemistry lab, eyes swollen, trying to pretend I was okay. That's when Eli, a student from South Korea who sat next to me, leaned over and said softly, "Hey, are you okay? You look tired." It caught me off guard. No one had asked me that in months. I shrugged. "Yeah, I'm fine." He didn't buy it. After class, he waited for me outside. "Listen," he said, "there's a workshop tonight about student finances and stress. I'm going with some friends. You should come." My first instinct was to say no. I didn't want to sit in another room full of strangers pretending to belong. But something in his voice, maybe the kindness, maybe the familiarity of another outsider, made me pause. "Okay," I said finally, "I'll come." That evening, I walked into a small room in the student center. About 20 students sat in a circle, chatting quietly. There was free pizza on the table. Real pizza, not cafeteria slices. A woman at the front smiled. "Welcome to our financial wellness workshop," she said. "Tonight, we're talking about how money affects mental health." As the session went on, students started sharing stories about skipping meals to save money, about working too many hours, about feeling left out of college life because of money. For the first time, I didn't feel alone. When it was my turn to speak, I hesitated. My hands were shaking, but I said it anyway. "My name's Sam. I work at the campus coffee shop. I'm studying chemistry. And I guess I've been struggling with money, with people, with everything." There was silence for a moment. Then someone nodded. Another said, "Same here." A girl across the room smiled and said, "You're not alone, man. We get it." Those words, "we get it," hit harder than I expected. After the workshop, I stayed behind, talking with Eli and a few others. We laughed about our cheap instant noodles, shared budgeting tips, talked about home. That night, for the first time in months, I walked back to my dorm smiling. Not because my problems disappeared, but because for once I wasn't facing them alone. In the weeks that followed, things slowly got better. I joined the Low Income Student Support Club, a small but passionate group that helps students find scholarships, secondhand textbooks, and part-time jobs with fair hours. I started volunteering, mentoring other freshmen who were struggling like I had. Helping them made me realize something. I wasn't broken. I was just human. My grades improved. I cut down my work hours. I started saving a little, even if it was just $5 at a time. Most importantly, I started connecting. Eli and I studied together. We'd grab coffee after class, this time as friends, not as customer and barista. Sometimes we'd walk by the Mississippi River after sunset, talking about family, about home, about how weird it felt to chase big dreams so far away from where we started. It wasn't easy. Some nights loneliness still came knocking, but now I knew how to answer it. Not with silence, but with connection. If you're watching this, sitting in your dorm room, wondering if you belong here, this is for you. Feeling lonely doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're human. Everyone struggles to fit in at some point. Everyone feels invisible sometimes. Reach out even when it feels awkward. You'll be surprised how many people feel the same way. Talk to someone. A classmate, a mentor, a counselor. Join a group. Tell your story. You never know who might need to hear it. Because loneliness may feel heavy, but connection, even a small one, can lift more than you think. Take care of your mind, your money, and your heart. They all matter. And remember, you don't have to face college alone. Not anymore. If you've ever felt lonely studying far from home, or you're just trying to survive the stress of college and money, please remember, you're not alone. My story is just one among thousands out there. If you saw a bit of yourself in this video, hit like, share it with a friend who might need to hear this, and leave a comment to tell your own story. I'm Sam, and this is Student Money Stories. See you in the next one.